Now, investors have their focus fixed on today's primary market auction as existing T-bills totaling 142.57 billion naira will mature and be rolled over. Chuka Nwachukwu, head of ALM and balance sheet management at UBA, joins me now for the expected outcome and other market movements. Chuka, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. In the last 2 days, we've seen the average yields in T-bills and then the bond market decline just a little bit, largely driven by buy pressure across the curve for the T-bills and then mostly around the mid to the short end of the spectrum for the bonds. Walk us through the highlights of activities and the expected outcome from today's T-bills auction.
Yeah, like you rightly mentioned, we've seen the activities, especially on the longer end of the curve for the T-bills. We've seen the 1 year, which closed at the last auction at 20.7, currently trading around 19, just about 45 to 56 basis points below where it closed. You know, activities, like you rightly said, it's quite bullish, but then it's been hampered by illiquidity in the system. Liquidity has actually played a major role in the system. We've seen the system liquidity, in deficit or debit of about 1.5 trillion as of last week Thursday, and currently is around 909 trillion. So that really has hampered trading, both in the fixed income market, T-bills and bonds. On the bond side, we've seen also bullish sentiment, especially on the 34, which was on the auction the last time. We've seen it trade around the 19.5 levels, and then just cherry picking, nothing much happening at that end, and especially because of the NTB auction today.
And looking at the expectations as well now, we'll definitely keep our fingers crossed on that as well now. But as we count down into the rest of the week and gradually closing up the month of April, what should we expect? How are investors leaning going forward?
I think the liquidity will still continue to play a key role. What we've seen is that whilst there's so much interest in terms of on the T-bill side and the bond side, but then liquidity is a huge constraint, and that is why we've seen that the yield has continued to alleviate. Even though we've seen bullish sentiment that we expect that yield will drop, but yield has still remained slightly elevated due to illiquidity in the system. So going into the rest of the week, what happened today at the NTB auction, we actually drive the activity to the rest of the week. We expect to see yield close around the level it closed the last time, especially the 1 year. We expect to see it close around 20.7 or 20, even not slightly lower, maybe around 20.5 as well. Presently, we have the yield hover around 19, upper 19, like I said earlier. Yeah. And then we also expect to see that the volume which was on offer, like you said earlier, 142. We don't really intend to see huge oversubscription. The last auction, we saw huge oversubscription of well over 900 billion. I don't think we'll see much of that. So going into the week, we expect to see moderate trading, especially on the bond side, and then of course on the bill side, whatever happens today will give us an insight what will happen at the end of the week.
Well, Chuka, I would have to leave the conversation here for now. I would have loved to have had your thoughts on how the market is also responding to the confirmation we had from the Debt Management Office talking about Nigeria working on the details of the proposed dollar-denominated domestic bonds, which is also part of the overall strategy to also address the FX crisis that we have here in the country, and also looking at the slight depreciation we're seeing in the Naira, whether or not this is a signal that this is an end to the rally we've seen so far. But Chuka, we'll leave the conversation here for now. That was Chuka Nwachukwu, head of ALM and balance sheet management at UBA.